Okay.
Hang on, we're live, so I'm just
Closing unnecessary windows that slow down your streaming, maybe. That might be a good call. Fangraphs is particularly sticky with the
yeah.
all the different little.
Do you want to tag
red
everyone on the Discord and tell them that we're live right now?
Sure, why not? Hang on, I'll do that. Hi, everybody watching on YouTube. We're getting a live show started from Bottle Rocket now, and we're letting all of our patrons know to come chase us over to YouTube. So stand by for that. Hang on.
Hi, everyone on YouTube. This is some glorious content right now.
And with that, we go. Shall we go?
Yeah. I don't know how to.
Don't worry about it. They'll find us.
Okay.
Here we go. What is happening? Bottle Rocket. The San Diego Padres are 1-0. Step one complete on the road to a championship. It is Padres Hot Tub live post game. We are live at Bottle Rocket, right on the corner of 16th here. When you shoot off the 94 West in the gas lamp, out on the edge of the East Village. Craig Elston and Raphie Cantor, we are here with you live with a bunch of patrons, with a bunch of Bottle Rocket patrons as well. A bunch of Padre fans fired up after a 4-0 win over the Atlanta Braves.
Listen to that.
It's what you like to hear. It's what you like to hear. You love to hear it. Craig and Raphie here. Chris is watching from LA. Hope your back is feeling a little bit better, buddy. I'll start off straight up, Raphie, by saying this. The Padres were given a gift by yesterday's doubleheader. They took advantage. They won this game straight up on the fact that a 21-year-old kid from AAA, AJ Smith-Shorver, who had given up 21 homers in 89 minor league innings, was forced to face a great Padres lineup and immediately gave up a 2-run homer to Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, welcome to the big leagues, AJ Smith-Shorver. I feel like every time we say his last name, it's going to change slightly.
Schwarber,
I keep wanting to say Juju Smith-Schuster. I know that's not right. But yeah, look, allegedly AJ may have been tipping his pitches. That's some reporting that we've seen. It doesn't matter. He got a very rude welcome to the big leagues from Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't really have a voice. I was at the game with my dad, and I think when Tatis hit that home run, not only was the crowd just completely amped, completely, exalting what had just transpired, but also I think there was just such a sense of relief because everyone knew going into the game how the deck was stacked in the Padres' favor, and the question was, were they going to be able to live up to those cards that were being dealt? And I mean, Craig, they passed with flying colors.
Well, they did, and they did thanks to early offense, 3 runs off the rookie the first time through the lineup, and then no more Padres hits until the 8th inning. Kyle Higashioka, thank you very much for your deposit into the Higgy Bank. First deposit into the playoff Higgy Bank, right into left field where you know it's going to be. But in between that, the story of the game and the true story of game one was Michael King, who gave up a couple of singles in the first inning, gave up a little bit of traffic on nothing but singles early on in the game, and then completely locked in. No walks, 12 strikeouts. Padres bullpen, Adam and Suarez come in. 3 strikeouts for Jason Adam. And according to ESPN, the Padres, the first team in baseball postseason history with a 15 strikeout, 0 walk game.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah.
How do you like that?
Michael King, from the moment he came into the game, looked absolutely dialed in. Even on the base hits that he was giving up, he gave up a base hit to Michael Harris. First pitch, 96-mile-an-hour sinker. Second pitch, 96-mile-an-hour sinker, literally right in the exact same spot. He was going with, location. And then when he gave up a hit to Matt Olson just a few batters later, he gave it up on a pitch that was about, 5-6 inches off the plate, and Matt Olson just kind of flung the bat head at it. I never once felt like Michael King didn't have it, and he was just attacking the zone with supreme confidence and someone who was in complete command of his arsenal. I don't know how much the Braves being sleepy, tired boys contributed to this today.
Didn't hurt. I'll say that.
It certainly didn't hurt. There were some pretty lackluster plate appearances on their part. But Michael King, I mean, they gave him game one as a reward. It was a supreme build of confidence. And I mean, you brought up Kyle Higashioka already, so I might as well make the point now. This is the Soto game of the playoffs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, win-win trade. There's no question about it. One of the amazing win-win trades in baseball history. The difference is that Soto has 1 year in the Yankee pinstripes unless he gets big money. Whereas for the Padres, Michael King at least continues another year. And who knows how much further King delivers. 12 strikeouts. I texted you and Chris during the game. I said, we're approaching Kevin Brown territory. And to be perfectly honest, in a 90s world, Michael King would have continued and quite possibly could have tied Kevin Brown and struck out 3 more batters. It's just the nature of modern baseball that he would get taken out of a game. He was dominating that much with fewer than 100 pitches thrown.
Yeah, I texted you this after you made the Kevin Brown point. I was sitting next to my dad, and we were both looking at each other and say they got to just leave him in until he allows a base runner, because I think he was at I don't know how many pitches was he at when he got pulled out.
It was low 90s. I can look it up. Hang on.
Yeah. I mean, he easily had another at least 1-2 batters in him. I believe he left the game after getting the Braves 8 hitter out in the 7th inning. So Orlando Arcia was coming up to hit 9th in the 8th inning. So that meant after Arcia was retired, theoretically, Michael King would have been facing the top of the Braves lineup for the 4th time in the game. I don't think that the Padres would have allowed him to do that no matter what, no matter how much he was cooking. I would have liked to have seen him go at least to Arcia, just because, I just really wanted Michael King to get that ovation from the crowd when Schill finally pulled him from the game, and to kind of have the anticlimax of, seeing Jason Adam trot out was a little bit of a bummer, but ultimately, they're not here for celebrations. They're not here for pageantry. They're here to win ball games, and they want a fucking ball game, Craig.
Yeah, the answer was 89 pitches, but, same difference, essentially. In other eras, it would have been Michael King in the 8th, no question. In this era, when you've got Adam and Suarez and Scott potentially to back the kid up, why not give him that moment and let him be fresher for next week? Now, Raphie, I have no idea if we're going to be able to hear Chris, how this works. But Chris Reed, I see on our screen, and I would love to hear from him as well. I have no idea. So, Chris, please speak and reveal mysteries to us.
Can you hear me, boys?
We cannot hear you.
It's definitely not a mystery that we could not hear you.
Unfortunately, we can't hear you. But hey, Chris, before you go, we will you can signal to us when you're done speaking. Please weigh in, and then we just want to hear from you before you go.
Yes.
Got it. All right. So this is outgoing, but they're not getting the input. I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, San Diego Padres are very good. Very good. Go Padres. I don't want to interrupt your guys' flow. Keep it going. That looks like so much fun. I'm so jealous of you. What a night that must have been at Petco. It must have been friggin' exuberant. I'm so jealous of you guys. You don't know it, but fuck all of you.
Okay.
So
we lost Chris.
I'm afraid that had something to do with oysters, but I have no idea. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We love you, Chris. We're sorry you couldn't be here with us. But guys, I'm just so excited. Sorry, I just realized how stressed I was all day, and I've finally taken a breath, and I'm just so fucking relieved.
Well, I mean, real talk, because we keep it real on Padres Hot Tub. This was a game the Padres had to win. You couldn't afford to lose this game when Atlanta turned up after a doubleheader without their top 2 starters and without all of their top-end bullpen, and putting a 21-year-old AAA kid on the mound to start game 1 of the playoffs on the road. Every single domino was lined up for San Diego, and thankfully, Fernando Tatis Jr. loves dominoes, and he just tipped that first one over and sent the rest of them flying. And that was the impetus that the Padres needed. Michael King kept the momentum rolling, and essentially that was that for a very exhausted Atlanta team. Will tomorrow be a different game? Yes. Max Fried is pitching tomorrow. He's one of the best pitchers in the league. He's a Cy Young caliber pitcher that's going for Atlanta in a desperation situation, and they will have a day to have slept in their hotel rooms and somewhat acclimated to being here and being in the series. But this was lined up for San Diego to get game one. And in a 3-game series, getting game one has won the series all but 2 times.
Really?
In the wild card era.
Wow.
Yes. So this is gigantic. Now, one of the times was when the Padres lost game 1 in 2020 to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Didn't count.
And didn't count.
Nothing counted from
Nothing,
2020.
Nothing at all. We accept that. We accept that premise. So the Padres are in a much better situation now than they would have been if they somehow found a way to kick this game. Now, one way to kick a game is to get no hit by the Atlanta mid relievers.
Yeah, can we talk about this
for 6 innings? That was a bummer. Aaron Bummer, more specifically, who started that with a couple of double play balls. One of the things I talked about on Annie and Elston today was how good a matchup Schwarber, Morver was, because he was a fly ball pitcher who gave up home runs. And the Padres' bugaboo is ground ball double plays. That's what kills the offense of the Padres. They bring in Bummer, and what a bummer. He turns 2 double plays in 3 innings.
Yeah, it's worth saying that the Padres were retired in order for 5 straight innings. And aside from the Higashioka homer in the, the 8th inning, basically that represented the Padres' only base runner since the first out of the 3rd inning. So things were not going swell for the boys. And it does make me a little nervous for tomorrow. As was noted on our pod yesterday, both of Atlanta's top 2 relievers went 2 times, like both games, the doubleheader yesterday. So it was going to be very unlikely that we were going to see them today. But they didn't have to pitch today. And so, basically, Craig and I were talking before the game, and the Atlanta relievers who went out today, Aaron Bummer, Jesse Chavez, Luke Jackson, they were all basically pain sponges that were soaking up the pain of the Atlanta organization that had carried with them 3 time zones over, and they did an effective job. Look, we just got to focus on one game at a time. And how are you feeling about how the Padres match up against Max Fried?
Not worried about that at this exact moment in time. Padres took care of business in game 1. I'm not going to throw away or shine any victory in the playoffs, and 4-0 is outstanding. This Padres pitching staff was built by A.J. Preller to be a postseason pitching staff. It was built with power arms. It was built with crazy stuff plus. It was built with a plethora of different relievers who come from different angles, who come with great velocity, who have a ton of heart. And this pitching staff has the ability to shut down top offenses in Major League Baseball. Now, the Braves don't have their best 2 hitters. So when you face a wounded animal like that, you've got to take advantage. Michael Harris, red hot, 316 in the month of September. He gets a couple of hits to start things off, but they keep Albies completely silent in this game with 3 strikeouts to start his day before he pokes one in the 8th inning for a single. Ozuna completely, locked up with 3 strikeouts, and Matt Olson hits one to the wall in the 9th inning, but he gets locked up. If you lock up these hitters, Soler behind him, the Braves are going to be in huge trouble this year because they don't have that spark plug of Acuna at the top of their order. They don't have the engine, the heart of their team, which is Austin Riley, one of the best third basemen in Major League Baseball. They don't have Strider. They don't have Sale. This is a team that is going to be very happy, I'm telling you, on the Atlanta Braves Swampcast to
Peach Pit.
Yeah, the Peach, exactly. In the Atlanta Braves Peach Pit to say what a great season we had. We took all these injuries and somehow we made it to the playoffs and we ran into a buzzsaw there. But, we got to be proud of the year we had. That's the Braves narrative, and they can go ahead and tell that story after tomorrow night's game as far as I am concerned.
Yeah. there was a plethora of articles that came out that were previewing this series that were just talking about the Padres as being the juggernaut roster of the National League. And it made me very worried going into today's game.
I understand. I do.
I hate hype. I hate stuff like that. I hate when it gets to people's heads. But when the Padres, just so people know, if it wasn't on the broadcast, before the game, they did the Atlanta Braves lineup. And then when the Padres lineup came out, they had literally every person, coach, trainer, groundskeeper, like everyone was lined up along the first base foul line and got an introduction on the video board. And then, of course, you got really nice moments for Matt Waldron and Ha-Sung Kim and Martin Perez, guys who were on the bench, David Peralta, Ruben Niebla got a huge applause. And so, that was super nice. And then when they finally got to the whole Padres lineup 1 through 9 coming out of the dugout, I really was looking, 1 through 9, and I was like, guys, this team's really good. Like,
it is.
There was no relief at any point. I mean, you wouldn't know it for the way the Padres showed up in innings 3 through 8, but like truly, there was no inning. Whereas, like, I'm looking at the Braves 7 through 9 of Darno, Urshela, and Arcia, and like Darno scares me. He would run into a few, but like I'm not like quaking in my boots in the way that like I'm like, okay, Cronenworth, Solano, Higashioka, you look at the years those guys have had, and then, oh, wait, what's waiting for you if one of those guys manages to get on base? Arise, Tatis, Profar, Machado. I'm waiting to see the true promise of this in tomorrow's game. I'm really hoping that we can grind out some at-bats. The guys look good, and they did everything they needed to do to get the job done today.
You brought it up obliquely earlier, but one of the gigantic moments in this game tonight was when Juju Smith-Schuster was facing Donovan Solano and started him off with a changeup. And if you folks were at the game, ESPN actually did a really good job of freeze framing and showing this, that Smith Shaver. I'm kidding. Poor kid. Good on you. Good on you being in the big leagues in the playoffs. That when he threw his changeup, which has a more extreme grip, that he had his glove fanned wide, and he threw that to Solano on ball 1. And then when he threw his four-seamer with a tight grip in his glove was tight around his hand, and Solano read it and smacked the ball for the third run for San Diego. And that's the kind of thing you get when you have a Donnie Barrels on your bench, on your team, a professional hitter, Pride of Columbia. Like, this guy comes to hit. He knows to learn. He's observant. This team is observant. How many times have we seen the San Diego Padres hitters this year finish an at bat, come back and talk to the next batter who's coming from the on-deck circle and share information, share intelligence? Exactly. Dozens of times we have seen it. This team shares. They share information. They share knowledge with one another. And little things like that a 21-year-old kid who's way out of his depth, pitching in a sold-out Petco Park in game 1 of a playoff series, he makes a mistake like that. The Padres pounce and they get 3 runs on a day when, frankly, otherwise they didn't come to hit today.
Yeah. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. We have a chat going. You can ask us some questions. Also, to our live audience here at Bottle Rocket, if you guys have any questions, just flag us down, wave to us.
We do have a microphone.
We have another microphone. We don't know if it's going to give us a lot of feedback on the speaker.
Oh, yeah, we probably don't want to open it right here. That would
yeah. So we'll figure that out logistically. We did have a question already show up on the chat.
Way over here.
Yeah. We did have a question already show up on the chat on YouTube, and I'll read it now for the live audience as well. Juan Soto put up 8.1 WAR this year. Before this game, King, Higgy, Vasquez, and Brito put up 8.2 WAR this season.
Amazing.
Is it safe to say we won the Soto trade?
Oh, yeah, completely by 0.1.
I don't know if it's a F WAR or B WAR, by the way, but what do you think, Greg? Did we win the Soto trade?
I mean, I think that's definitive. If one number is bigger than the other, then therefore, in the land of 8.1, 8.2 rules supreme is what I understand. That's my understanding. So
I think it's yet to be written in October, to be completely honest.
That's fair.
Like, I think I think the way that this playoffs is shaping up, there is a chance that Juan Soto has a date with the San Diego Padres in the future, and that will be if that's the scenario that plays out, like that will be the determinant factor in the trade. But that being said, I mean, Michael King and Kyle Higashioka were, arguably two of the biggest factors in winning the game. King certainly, and Hickey, Tatis, take your pick. But certainly a big one in the win column for the Padres on that.
No, I mean, look, I said it earlier. I mean, the honest answer is it's one of the ultimate win-win trades, maybe in baseball history. And the difference could be whether Soto signs with the Yankees or not. If the Mets are still on the run here. There was kind of a narrative I had heard like, well, if the Mets, bow out early in the playoffs, Steve Cohen is going to overpay and go get Juan Soto. Maybe he still will. Maybe if the Mets make a little bit of a run and come up short, he'll say we're Juan Soto away from being a World Series team. Who knows if he's right or wrong about that? If you trade Pete Alonso for Juan Soto in their lineup, right? But that's a story for another podcast in another month and another year, hopefully. This Soto trade made the 2024 Padres. You don't have Dylan Cease if you don't make the Juan Soto trade. And by being able, I'll take it a step further, by replenishing the stock, by having guys like Vasquez and Brito, who combined for, I think, 145 innings for the San Diego Padres this season, gave them major league innings, having a Higashioka, having King that's on top of a rotation, throwing almost 180 innings this year, that gave Preller furthermore the wherewithal to be able to then trade for a Luis Arraez, make the moves he did at the deadline when it was time to go for broke. If he had to overspend for Dylan Cease with some more prospect capital as opposed to flipping a Drew Thorpe in that deal, he would probably not be able to complete all the trades that he made. So it was an absolutely essential move, and I would argue the best move of A.J. Preller's career.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking down at my score sheet, and to transition us a little bit, a thought that crossed my mind just being at the game tonight. Craig, it's really cool to be a Padres fan right now. Can I tell you that much? I think that the team did such a good job. I mean, they had their usual suspects there. You had your Kyle Mooney's, you had your Tom DeLongs, you had your Alex Morgans there in the crowd. But I think that we saw a lot of appreciation from Padres productions and from the entire organization. Like, so much of the video graphics during the game were, geared towards you made your voice heard all season, Petco Park. Now let the country, let the world hear you. And I really think that the attitude there in the crowd tonight was one of this is the party that we earned having.
Yeah.
It was it was so raucous. There were a couple of Dodgers fans that were sitting in our section that were just wearing Dodgers gear. I've never seen at Dodgers games. I've never seen people get more mercilessly booed because there is such a tribal herd mentality that is pervasive throughout the city right now. People want this, they smell it. And I that was just my feeling coming from the game, Craig, is it's just really cool to be a Padres fan right now.
This team is built for this moment. Everything that happened the last 2 years is built to this moment. And what is so beautiful and poetic and disgusting about the game of baseball is that we decide this by playing baseball games. And we decided by playing 2 out of 3 and 3 out of 5 and 4 out of 7. And I remember, in fact, I'll never forget it for the rest of my life because it was burned into my brain when Eno Saris was on with Ben and Woods earlier this year and went through how the quants figured out what would be to get to the point where the NBA is, which is where 80% of the time the higher seed wins and advances. They sussed out how many games you would need a series to be in order for that to happen in baseball. And the answer was a best of 27. So when you play a best of 3, which is a multiple of 9 smaller than that, It's by nature nonsensical. It's by nature goofy, but it turns from a baseball game into a prize fight. And that brings me to the man you want in a heavyweight knockout fight, Fernando Tatis Jr., who comes up and delivers not only a homer, but like the sexiest homer you could possibly hit in a game, twisting, contorting his body as the ball barrels, spinning into his celebration before it's even cleared the infield on its way to the second deck. You bring dogs to get to the end. And Fernando Tatis Jr. is that guy. He is him. And you saw it now in the 2024 playoffs.
Craig, what section are your seats at Petco Park?
307.
307. So we were sitting in 302 tonight. And when you're pitched at a certain height in the upper deck of most baseball stadiums, and certainly at Petco Park, what a ball does on a pop fly or when it gets in the air, it's impossible to tell from your perspective actually how far it's going. What you have to do is you have to watch the outfielders and you have to see how they react. And when Tatis hit that ball off of his bat, I looked at the left fielder and he was completely frozen. And so my first, split second thought was, oh no, he's hit a can of corn because he's not moving and the ball is falling directly to him. And then I slowly saw, who was it? Ramon Laureano turn his head and crane and look at the Estrella Jalisco landing, much as I'm doing with you right now, Craig. And I haven't been at Petco Park for a moment like that. And it was just like we punked him. Like it's really what it was. Like first pitch, 94 mile an hour, middle end, and Tatis was looking for one thing, and he got that one thing. And I mean, he took AJ Smith-Shawver's lunch money. Is really what happened.
He did, and I also don't want to give or leave out the fact that Luis Arraez got it started with a great at bat that led to an opposite field single to get things going. A Tony Gwynn special. To line it to left field the other way. And Arraez is a tone setter for this Padres team. And to follow a guy who is so pesky as Luis Arraez with a guy in Fernando Tatis Jr. who's going to swing at the first pitch pretty much every time, but Arraez might frustrate you into throwing a cookie to Fernando Tatis Jr. and missing inside the zone. And when that happens, he does insane damage. I don't think we've actually emphasized maybe enough since his return, Raphie, the slugging percentage of Fernando Tatis Jr., that he is at 2021 levels, what he has done since he's come back.
Yeah. I mean, he is it's so wild to me to think that this team was playing its best baseball when he was hurt, because having him back, the team, it felt completely like it was incomplete without him. You know what I mean? I was thinking about in the moment between when Fernando Tatis Jr. Hit the ball and threw his bat 20 feet in the air and turned to the dugout. All the different moments in this season where we had, Padres players hit home runs, turn to the dugout, and get a reaction from the guys. And there is no one who is a better conductor of Petco Park than Fernando Tatis Jr.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He is the maestro of Petco Park. He sets the tone when he does the little stutter step, in front of third base. It's just this moment. It's mutual exhilaration, what he's able to bring to the ballpark. Now, heart of the order really didn't get the job done today. Jerkson, I thought, had good at bats. What do we got here? Padres on top. Concernometer on the Padres offense tomorrow from Kim Possible. Okay. I was just about to say, right, how Profar, Machado, Merrill, great first at bat, line drive single the other way, hard contact another time up. Bogey pretty much just grounding out today. Cronenworth, got on the hit by pitch. Fortunate, scored a run that way. Otherwise, not so much there. Room for improvement for the San Diego Padres. Also, it's the playoffs. So 4 runs is a good output in the playoffs, in my opinion. 5 runs is an outstanding output and one that you expect to win if you get to 5. There's just very few 9-6 games in modern Major League Baseball in the playoffs because almost everybody on a rostered playoff team can throw 98 and above. It's just a different era than it used to be when I was growing up, where the 93 Phillies and Blue Jays can play a 15-13 game in the World Series because they're starting gas cans like Todd Stottlemyre, in a World Series game. It's just not that way. The Braves are one of the best teams in baseball. I can't emphasize enough that when you don't have Spencer Strider, Chris Sale, and Ronald Acuna and Austin Riley, that you shouldn't win playoff series. Like, you just shouldn't. That's the heart of the team. Those are like the 4 best players on the Atlanta Braves, and they don't have any of them. So this is the Padres series. I expect them to win tomorrow. That's what I expect. I expect them to win, to find a way to get a couple 3 runs off of Max Fried and to break through against a tired Braves team and send them into the postseason, into retirement and into golfing.
Straight to Cancun.
Yeah.
Tonight, Jurickson Profar, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts went a combined 0 for 9 with a couple of strikeouts. I feel very confident to say that is not going to happen tomorrow. I think that they are going to be more of a factor in the game. They were not factors in the game, and yet the Padres still won 4-0. That is the luxury that this offensive lineup provides you. I don't know with Peralta being a lefty in the lineup, if there's going to be any changes that Mike Schilt makes. Considering the fact that this was our Solano lineup, I don't know.
No changes.
Diaz catching?
You could, but I think no changes. I think you just roll with the exact same lineup tomorrow. What else would you actually do? The guy you'd want to sub out would be Cronenworth.
Yeah.
And you don't have Kim.
Yeah.
So, no, this is your lineup. It's cool. It's good. I think this is one of the best lineups in Major League Baseball. I really do. I think this lineup with Solano, with Higashioka hitting and putting balls in the Higgy bank, I think this is one of the very best lineups in all of Major League Baseball. It's very difficult to go through. Now, did the Braves go through it a couple times? They sure did.
Mm-hmm.
They went 5+ no-hit innings out of their bullpen. Also, the Padres were up 3-0 against a very tired team, and things got on a roll like that. And sometimes games go like that when you are a contact-prone team. I've watched enough Royals baseball, this year and over the years. Like, that's the kind of thing that happens sometimes when you're a no-walk team that grinds with attacking in the zone as opposed to taking every single ball, around the fringes. So I'm not concerned about that. I have 100% respect for Max Fried. He just pitched a fucking Maddox.
Yeah.
So, and I saw our dear friend Chris, who we could not hear when he was on, but you all heard him, write in the chat that Max. How did you look this up, Chris? Was this on Twitter? Max Fried has a sub-2 ERA when coming off an outing of 8 innings or more. What an obscure stat. Like Ross Porter over here. Max Fried has a sub-2 ERA in outings after 8 innings or more, and now more from Farmer John. That's wild. Well, look, I think Max Fried is tremendous. He was the one who got away in the original winter of Preller. He was the one that got shipped to get us 1 year of Justin Upton. And I think that was a little bit of a mistake in the history of the Padres franchise because Fried's never left Atlanta. He's just stayed there and been a dominant pitcher and a 20-game winner. And he can sling that curveball in, man. I mean, I was watching him on Friday. When he's on a roll, he has the ability to locate his fastball inside, outside, and then sling that curveball where it backdoors and it breaks about 24 inches. But guys, this isn't the Peach Pit. This is the hot tub. And Java Joe pitches tomorrow for the San Diego Padres. And I want Joe Musgrove on the mound for my team in a closeout game at home. the way he is pitching, which is as good as any pitcher in Major League Baseball since he's come back, excusing 7 batters against the Giants in a row.
I remember when our beloved John Gennaro did the podcast with you, one of the things he always talked about with Trent Grisham, may God rest his soul, is that Trent Grisham was a red ass for the team. He was a red ass for the team in 2020, which of course didn't count, but he was more importantly a red ass in 2022 when he hit 3 home runs against the New York Mets in the wild card series. I really feel like in that series, when the legend of the shiny ear was created with Joe Musgrove, that he really kind of spiritually took the reins over as the team's red ass. And I think that we're going to see nothing less. Tonight when they were doing the pregame introductions and like literally down the line, every single person on the Padres, they finally get to Joe Musgrove and he's in the bullpen, no reaction. Just absolutely stone-faced, like an Easter Island head. And all I said was, that man is locked in. And I think he's going to be locked in tomorrow, Craig.
I cannot wait to watch Joe Musgrove throw tomorrow night. I mean, this team, this is a special team, and they have a destiny, and that destiny is to face the Los Angeles Dodgers in the division series. I'm not trying to anger the baseball gods. Once again, the Padres will come into game 2 with clear eyes and full hearts, and that's all you can do. That's all you can do in the playoffs, man. That's all you can do. That's why I'm coming up with silly catchphrases, but I say exalt the team, accept the result. This team is a great team. Whatever happens in an individual baseball game, baseball is stupid and no one should watch it. We all know this. We accept it as a truism. So you exalt the team. You understand that 1 out of 12 gets to the promised land and lifts up the hunk of metal, and that 2 out of 12 get to the final series, and everyone else comes up short. And Milwaukee has had a great season, and they welcomed in a red-hot, cracker-hot Mets team, and Jesse Winker delivered, and guys delivered, and they won today. 3 road teams won today. 3 home teams that worked all year to get this blew it today. And the Padres got a Fernando Tatis Jr. absolute rocket bomb. What a difference. And they got 12 strikeouts and 7 shutout innings from Michael King, no walks. Michael King is one of the dirtiest pitchers in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that stat. I was looking at it today on the radio, and I'm just like, here's the fastball that plays at the top of the zone. And here's his 2 breaking pitches that go 20 inches to the left and his 2 breaking pitches that go 20 inches to the right. He is an absolute conundrum for opposing teams. The Padres picked 100% right in selecting Michael King over Dylan Cease, over Joe Musgrove, over Yu Darvish. And now tomorrow they can deliver the hammer blow with the hometown hero, who has been pitching at his absolute top of range, and he gets a chance to face this depleted Braves lineup. It's a beautiful scenario to me.
It's a beautiful scenario, and I mean, so Michael King threw 89 pitches tonight. 65 of those were strikes.
It's disgusting.
He was attacking the zone against a team that he knew was depleted, and he was doing it with confidence. I want to see Joe Musgrove do the same thing. Of note, not only of Michael King's 12 strikeouts, he also didn't walk anyone. The whole team didn't walk anyone tonight. They were not given any free passes. And, Joe Musgrove, for his tenacity, his fire, everything, he can be a nibbler. He can be a little cheeky. He can be trying to take little bites out of the strike zone here and there. I don't know who is the home plate umpire who's going to be calling the game tomorrow night. If it's Phil Cuzzy, I am, thinking we might get a little bit of a looser zone than we maybe saw tonight. I think the memo for Joe is just to continue to be aggressive, continue to attack the zone. Don't try and be too cute. You know what I mean? Joe's stuff has looked basically as good as it has all season. He's had the velocity up. He's firing his breaking balls in there with confidence. So the game plan for Joe is just to be himself, be confident, throw strikes, attack the zone, get ahead in counts. and let the arsenal speak for itself.
You won on a day when you got nothing from Manny. That's a win. You know, I mean, all the wins are wins, but when this team wins and Manny does not contribute, I get excited because tomorrow Manny might just contribute. And then what happens to the Atlanta Braves? That's the kind of guy that steps up in big moments. And I'm going to say it again. I'll just say it one more time. This team's built for this.
Yeah.
This team is truly built for this. And I got to tell you, Rafe, straight from the heart, I'm here watching at Bottle Rocket with our friends. You're at the ballpark. You were talking to me how nervous you were.
Uh-huh.
Like, I felt a serene confidence
Really?
watching this game that I did not experience at any moment in 2022. In 2022, I was white-knuckling every Musgrove curveball watching the Mets or Jacob deGrom out there, right, for New York. Like, everything felt like it was magical if we got a hit.
Yeah.
You know, Josh Bell, Grisham, right? My man. What's 575? I can't think of it so fast. Padres haiku in the house. But this team is built for this. You have a buzzsaw at the top of the lineup, followed by a wild horse, followed by a guy who has incredible at-bats from both sides of the plate, followed by trademark Manny fucking Machado, followed by Jackson Merrill, Rookie of the Year, Pete Rose, just brilliant. You've got a World Series hero hitting 6. You've got Crony in the 7 spot, a dude who is just all team, all glue, puts it all together. Donnie Barrels bats 8, Higgy or Diaz. You've got choices in the 9 spot. This is an iconic lineup. This is the kind of lineup that can beat a Max Fried, that can beat a name your Dodger, a Yamamoto, can beat a Nola, can beat a Wheeler, can beat a Framber Valdez or whoever you want. Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
Okay. I want an 84 rematch. I'm calling this into the universe. Let me manifest this. Padres Tigers 2024. Let's make it happen. Let's avenge 84 40 years later. Let's do the job right. You know, let's take it down. This is what I'm thinking about. But this team is built for this. And that's why I feel great about tomorrow. And if it somehow doesn't play, I feel great about Thursday, giving the ball to a dude that throws 99 with the best slider in the business.
Yeah. I want to put the call out one more time to our in-person audience. Is anyone feeling like they have a question, want to chime in? Ryan, you want to come up? Yeah. Come on, slide in here. Hang on.
All right, perfect. Just keep away from the speaker and we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're in.
Hello. So I just wanted to know, you might have been talking about us already, but like, is Michael King the king, or was it just an anomaly?
No, he's the king.
You think? Yeah, because we were talking about on the opposite. You guys were talking about on the opposite end, where they bring in a guy who's, you bring in your Joey Lucchesi, you bring in like, I wonder if the Braves thought we were bringing in another Joey Lucchesi, and then they just got stung.
I mean, watching it on TV, the movement King had and his command,
right,
taking the ball off the corner and in, taking the ball in the corner and off. He was as locked in as I've seen him literally all year. Here's a guy who's been saying for a month, I love what I'm doing, but I really want to start in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now we saw it. I listen, by WAR, by everything. He's a top 10 starter in baseball.
Well, yeah.
This year, and he showed it today.
Yeah. And I also want to know, did anyone check his ears?
That's a great question. Did anyone check his ears?
I was away for a little bit, and they might have checked his ears in like the 5th, but I wasn't there to see it. You were watching it, Craig, on TV.
Yeah, no.
So could
glove,
you please tell me
hands, see anything
if they
live.
checked his
hands,
ears?
glove hands. Showalter was calling it out from the couch, though. it was like the meme from. The
meme from
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I came in for a little bit of comedy. Now I will put the mic down. Sorry.
You're good, man.
And now I'm about to pass the mic.
Thanks, Ryan. That was great.
Amazing.
And I also just wanted to, I'm the stat guy, so I will just read some stats because I think this is quite interesting for the team. Dylan Cease, unquestionably the ace of this squad. He put up some absolutely breathtaking numbers: 10.65 strikeouts per 9 innings, 3 walks per 9, which is league average, but for Dylan Cease, that's quite good. He only gave up 0.86 home runs per 9 innings, less than a homer per 9 innings. On the face, those numbers, absolutely unbelievable. Michael King had almost identical numbers in every single category.
Yes, he did.
10.42 strikeouts per 9 compared to Cease's 10.65. 3.26 walks per 9 compared to Dylan Cease's 3.09. 0.88 home runs per 9 compared to Dylan Cease's 0.86. The peripherals say that these guys are basically the same pitcher. And we wouldn't have any qualms about Dylan Cease taking the ball in game 1. We wouldn't feel any sort of lack of confidence. Is he up for it? Does he have the build? These guys were basically the same pitcher in 2024. And the fact that we have 2 of them is crazy.
And that the next other 2 are Joe and you.
Yes.
It's not Mania and Clevenger.
Yes.
It's Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish.
The Braves had to throw someone who last pitched in AAA today in the first game of Wild Card. This isn't even Padres 2020, which didn't count, where we had Craig Stammen starting a playoff game. They wish they had Craig Stammen to start a playoff game. They had to go with a AAA pitcher. So to say the advantage, the X factor that the Padres have at the starting rotation, I don't think you can state it enough. Like, this is they really are the jewel of the postseason in this aspect of their team. And I guess we got a question earlier that we didn't get to ask from our YouTube chat. I'm trying to find exactly who asked it. This was from Andy. Andy asked, how worried were both of you when Suarez came into the game? You shocked that Tanner Scott didn't go into the game based on matchups?
I'm not shocked. I completely expected it because Mike Schilt is who he is. He's a very consistent manager. And, something he said in today's press conference, we played some of his press conference live on Andy and Elston today. And something he said, when we came back, I was like, no, he's right about that. Yeah. I don't always agree with the things Mike Schilt says. I think he's a tremendous manager. Sometimes his press conference bedside manner is a little weird. But one thing he said today that I couldn't agree with more is he said, I manage every game like it's a playoff game. And I have watched him manage 162 Padres games, and he does. He takes out the starter before he struggles. Bob Melvin would have left Michael King in. Now, it could have worked out today, but 10 out of 10 times, Bob Melvin would have left Michael King in.
Yep.
And when a reliever comes in and struggles and walks the bases loaded, Melvin leaves him in to try and get a ground ball. Schilt walks right out of the dugout, yanks the ball out of his hand, and gives it to the next fresh arm. And while that led to moments in the season of overuse for the bullpen, those were moments. Those moments came and went, and in between, he banked wins. And he protected a lot of win percentages by using his bullpen very effectively.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you 3 names right now: Adrian Morahone, Jeremiah Estrada, and Tanner Scott. Those men did not pitch today. Those men are completely fresh going into tomorrow's game. And again, the one thing that we have, even with a rested Max Fried, the one thing that the Padres have that the Braves do not, the Braves bullpen is so taxed. Even their 1 and 2 starters who didn't see action today, they pitched 25 pitches each around on Saturday. One pitched 20 yesterday, another pitched 19 tomorrow. By the way, in parts of double headers, so spaced out, which is extra taxing on the arm to go up and down like that after a 3-hour break. So no one is fresh in the Braves bullpen. And the Padres have 3 guys who would be pretty good to elite starter or bullpen arms on other teams, just waiting in the wings, completely untouched since Friday, Saturday in some cases. So I think that is where we can really win the game, especially if it's close late. If Fried and Musgrove both go out there and shove, I look for the Padres to make a late move in the game tomorrow.
Just buttoning Suarez, he gives up an Olsen fly ball to the wall.
Yeah.
He gives up a single to a right-handed batter.
I saw my life flash before my eyes, Craig.
Sure. I mean, I get it. And the thing about Suarez, he gave up close to a 280 average to right-handed hitters this year.
Yeah.
So he combines a lack of strikeouts, and that was something that my buddy Jerry that I was watching here in the game with said while he was out there. He goes, strike somebody out. I don't feel like I've watched you strike someone out in 3 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of feel that right now for Robert Suarez. He has been more hittable over the course of the second half of the season as his command has wavered a little bit. I did not see the pitch mix that was so ballyhooed the last 2 appearances for Robert Suarez. I saw fastballs almost exclusively tonight. And, in the end, Suarez got the job done. And I don't believe, for our Padre hot tub audience and for everybody who's a Padres fan supporting them in the postseason, I do not believe that Suarez is going to surrender the closer's job probably at any point, unless it is a true must-win elimination situation and there is a clear delineation of a matchup advantage to go to a Tanner Scott in a particular situation, particular, setup, whether it's an Ohtani situation, a Freeman situation, something along those lines. I think Suarez is the closer for this team, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a ride all postseason long.
Yeah, I just wanted to go through the game and confirm, and it is true, your eyes doth not deceive you, Craig. Robert Suarez threw exclusively fastballs and sinkers tonight. He didn't throw that changeup one time. It was all 98, 90 mile an hour heat, which, again, it's great that you can throw that. That's an elite tool, but, these are Major League Baseball hitters on playoff baseball teams. They're going to be able to time up a pitch.
Right.
And we saw Matt Olson basically do that, didn't just quite catch the ball square enough on the bat. That ball goes over the fence. That, bolt to Suarez's confidence, I think, is really stark and is going to affect him down the line. And I think you're right. I mean, I guess my question for you is, let's just say save situation tomorrow night. Who do you think's getting the ball? Is it Scott or Suarez? You think it's Suarez?
100%. 10 out of 10 times it'll be Suarez. He's not going to change. This clubhouse loves this man. Look how they celebrated him after the triple play. Look what they did in the clubhouse after they turned that triple play. They were hugging him. We got you, man. We got you. They believe in Robert Suarez, and that belief matters. It matters to the clubhouse. If you turned on Suarez, you're turning on the clubhouse to some extent. So Mike Schilt ain't going to do that. He's going to ride Robert Suarez. However, I do believe, and I will stand by this, that if you get to a critical situation where the matchup is right, he will make that change in that moment. But he will not until then.
Yeah. It might not be until, if the Padres, I'm knocking on wood for everyone watching at home, if the Padres do advance, the thing about Atlanta is that their lineup as it's currently constructed doesn't really give you the back-to-back lefties that would warrant or force Mike Schilt's hand to put Scott in a high leverage situation. You have Michael Harris, who's a lefty leading off. You have Matt Olson hitting cleanup. And then that's kind of really it.
Thanks to Albies coming back hitting right-handed exclusive, which is a new thing. I mean, he's been a switch hitter his whole career, and he came back and he's been hitting right-handed exclusive. And one of the things that was brought up on yesterday's doubleheader is that Albies right-handed is having a hard time seeing spin.
Yeah.
And he hit a fastball for his big hit, a couple big hits in yesterday's game. But today he saw spin from Michael King, and he fanned 3 straight times.
Yeah. So, I mean, this feels like one of those really unknowable, maybe a known unknown for the Padres. Is the chemistry such that it is the most important to preserve the bullpen pecking order, or is that pride, basically that Mike Schilt and the rest of the team are showing when clearly, baseball as we know it is presenting situations where Scott should be closing. It's a known unknown. We'll find out over hopefully the many games that we have to come.
Yeah. And with that, I think we can wrap this one up today.
Yeah.
Incredible to see, almost all the way through this broadcast, triple digit viewers on YouTube. Thank you so much for being there. Tomorrow we were going to do another live Padres postgame show. That one will be on our Padres Hot Tub Discord. It will not be here at Bottle Rocket. Chris and I were going to line this whole thing up and do it back here. Raphie is unavailable tomorrow, but Chris unfortunately had some issues with the back. He has been retired to the chat and to a great contribution to you guys that we didn't get to hear because our setup didn't allow it. Nonetheless, so tomorrow we will be live on our Padres Hot Tub Discord, going over Game 2 and potentially, hopefully, going over a Padres victory and advancing to the National League Division Series where the LA Dodgers await. If you want to support this show, if you've caught us for the first time because you just happen to be a baseball fan catching Padres fever, you can support this show at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. You can also support this show quite simply here on YouTube if you're watching by clicking the like button, by clicking subscribe so that you get Padres Hot Tub into your algorithm and into your feed. We absolutely appreciate that. We've gotten a good percentage of viewer to likes today, so smash that like button on the way out. And Raphie, Chris and I will be back tomorrow. And my goodness, this San Diego Padres team. Let's go, Padres!